Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. You know, it's Marika from Bunzl. It's great to see you again, Taylor.
Yes, it's good to see you as well. Good.
How's your morning been so far?
Pretty good. It's kind of been a little crazy, but you know, we're getting through the day.
It always is. I feel like that's how Tuesdays go. You know, you start Monday, fresh start. Tuesday kind of brings in the, oh, this is what we got to get done this week and everything. Now, I know last time we talked, you mentioned that you went to Indiana University. Did you happen to catch the game last weekend?
I got to watch it on TV, so that was pretty good. Sometimes I was watching it from home with my family, so that's been kind of good, but you know, they haven't had the best records, so this has kind of been a rough year for them.
And you have Michigan coming up next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, I don't know if I can hope for a win on that.
A little bit of a rocky road.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be the same as you know, with that type of season. I'd rather sit at home, relax with friends and family, make some snacks. Like, I love all the side dishes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have like a favorite thing you'd love to make on game days?
I'm really liking like the chips and dip, you know, but my problem is like once it gets started, you just can't stop. You're like, oh, just keep going, you know?
I'm the same way. Like, I could just sit on my couch, pull something up on the TV, and then next thing I know, I'm out of chips. Next thing I know, we're out of dip. Like, where'd that go? Oh, you guys didn't have any?
Oh.
Whoops. All right, well, I know I don't want to take up too much of your time today.
Yeah.
But I know when we discussed on the phone last time, you mentioned 15 minutes would be all right with you.
Yep.
Does that work?
Yep, that's perfect.
Great. So I want to go over a quick little agenda for the next couple of minutes, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Great. So I want to talk about some things that are going well with Smithfield, you know, things you're doing great at over the past couple, times since we last met, but then also talk about the things you want to improve. You know, I'm here to help you out, and I want to really help you hit that goal today.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add with that?
Nope, I think that sounds great.
Great. So before we dive in, I know we've worked together in the past, but I just want to, remind you a little bit about Bunzl and who we are. You know, our mission is to deliver business solutions and products that are going to help you with your sustainability and eventually hit all those goals that you're wanting to hit.
Yeah.
I know that you are working with meat processing a bit. We have a history working with you guys with our earplugs previously. And so I really just want to help you hit your goals, improve your sustainability and durability. I know we're kind of hoping to discuss footwear today. Does that sound all good with you?
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Great. So how about you tell me a little bit about, what you're working on right now. Is there any other decision makers that I should know about in this process?
Yeah, so obviously I'll be like the main decision maker. I'll work a little bit with our safety team as well, and of course if it's something that it's going to affect like my employees' jobs, definitely probably have a couple of them eventually involved in the process just because, it's going to affect how they're doing their job, so I'll let them possibly see it, test it out, see if it's a good fit for them.
I totally understand. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we really want is like that employee satisfaction for, everyone involved. So I know we're contractually obligated to help you with 5% of savings. Is this something that's still important with you? I know we're doing a little bit of work with your earplugs right now.
Yeah, that's still super important to us. That's really helpful to us each year and something like we value in our relationship with Bunzl. So that's definitely a goal we definitely want to keep working towards. And the earplugs have been great for us. It's a really seamless transition, and I think we're at like $12,000 now in cost savings or something. So it's been a very great transition. So
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's perfect for us.
Yeah.
I'm just always trying to help you out, and so I'm really glad to hear that product's working out for you well. Now, can you tell me a little bit about your experience with your current boot product?
Yeah, so I think we use just like a basic like neoprene boot, it's kind of, I feel like the industry standard for most places. We've used it for quite some time now. I don't really know, obviously I don't wear it, so I can't speak on if the comfortability of it or the quality, but just kind of a basic boot, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, the boots.
Yeah.
I totally get where you're coming from. Do you know if there's some things that you've heard that employees are liking or disliking about that current product?
I definitely think, they have a very labor-intensive role. They're on their feet all day. I know it can just be kind of, very draining there. When you're on your feet all day, I don't know, it doesn't look like it's the most comfortable shoe to stand in all day. So, I don't know if comfort can maybe be an issue. A lot of their staff has been with us for years. We really value employee satisfaction. So, we just want to keep them happy and try to make the job as easy as possible since it's not the most glorious industry to be in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. We want to keep everybody comfy. I mean, I know I'm wearing heels. I want to wear the comfiest heels I can wear.
Yeah.
So I totally understand where you're coming from. Have you run into any issues with, your current boots, like breaking or having to be replaced?
Yeah, I feel like we're definitely, I mean, we order quarterly, I feel like, so around 4 times a year, I'm definitely placing orders quite a bit for them. So, I don't know if that's like typical for most boots, but that's what we've been doing with this one for a while. So, that's all I know on like the ordering and how much we're going through. So,
Right, right. And I know you mentioned your safety department. Have they had to be called in with any like employee injury or issues with that?
we definitely filed a couple claims in the past
Mhm.
year, just some like little trips and falls, but still that's hours of dealing with insurance and definitely we just don't. If that was something we didn't have to worry about, it'd give us a lot more peace of mind. So yeah, we just had a couple incidents though. So
I'm really sorry to hear that.
yeah.
Like it's a lot of time, energy, HR that nobody wants to deal with. They don't have to. And we also want to keep everybody safe, which is very, very important. Now, in the long run, I really care about efficiency.
Yeah.
Do you think that you could run into problems in the long run with, your boots like breaking and constantly having to replace them 4 times a year?
Yeah, I definitely think too. I mean, like you and I both know, you get a new pair of shoes, like breaking a boot in.
Mhm.
I'm sure, like by the time you get it like broken and we are replacing it, like that's just a whole process. So, I mean, I definitely think, like you said, if we can increase efficiency by, increasing the comfortability of our workers, I think that could be huge.
I completely agree. And I think that there's so many factors that go into success and efficiency.
Yeah.
And little details like, boots, earplugs, things like that can make a really big impact for the overall product. So I'm really glad to, hear that we're kind of on the same page with a few of these things. Now, let's say I had a product that could kind of help with some of those issues, provide more comfort, more durability. Is that something that you would be interested in?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so.
Great, great. And like, how do you think that would help you in the long run?
I could definitely see, I mean, you mentioned comfortability, efficiency, all those things are definitely going to hit one of our main goals, which is, employee satisfaction. And then we touched on safety there, I'm always in contact with our safety department and everything I'm buying, so I'm sure that not only make my job easier, but their jobs easier, and our employees' jobs not only easier, but more comfortable too. They don't have to worry about falling, tripping, they could move at a good pace and not think about if they're going to slip. So yeah, I can definitely see some benefits there.
I definitely think that, just idea over here, I think something that could help with, the comfortability and also sustainability is like having replaceable insoles within the boots. Do you think that's something that your employees would enjoy?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I know, like we had mentioned, like breaking a shoe in, that can be a little bit of a task for a second. So I could see where that's going to be definitely beneficial to them. And then, of course, from our standpoint, reaching our sustainability goal, becoming carbon negative later, I think that's definitely going to help with the amount of waste we're having every year. So
completely. I know if you were just able to, slip an insole in, like have some thermal protection, like those little things can make the experience for employees like so much better and so much more enjoyable. So I'm glad to hear that we're on the same page here. Are there any other issues or any other ways that I can help you out?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I feel like we've hit a couple good areas, and I'm kind of looking forward just to really, I feel like, hit some of our goals that we're having this year with employee safety and cost savings. So I feel like we've hit most of them.
Great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Great. Now, I know that we've obviously talked a lot about durability, comfortability, safety, putting all those teams together. I happen to have a product that I think would really improve, the experience for both employees, safety, just the whole group in general. So I was wondering if you'd be interested in meeting again. I could bring in some of our own boots. You can try them out, bring in some of your employees to try them out. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, what would like the cost on something like that look like?
Yeah, well, I'll come in as per usual. Our actual boot right now is ranging around $110, which I know is a bit more than you're spending. However, I think in the long run, because of those replaceable insoles that are only $12, you're going to actually get more value out of that product. You're not going to have to replace it every, 4 times a year, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Our boots usually range about 2 to 3 years. So while it is a little bit more expensive, I think in the long run, it'll help you out a lot.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Great, I'm glad to hear that. So are you able to meet, Tuesday around 2 o'clock next week?
Yeah, I think that should work perfect for me. The one thing I am a little bit, can someone like one of my employees come in and try this on, test it? I mean, this is obviously going to be their booth.
Right.
So is that like a something we're able to do, just to get their opinion?
Absolutely. More the merrier. If you want to bring in some people from your safety team as well, because I know they would probably want to try it out.
Yeah.
Some great things about our boots is that we also have thermal protection, and they're more lightweight. So I feel like that's something your safety team and employees would all like to check out. So more the merrier. Absolutely bring them in. Is there any other concerns you have?
No, I don't think so. I think that's everything.
Great. So does Tuesday work for you?
Yep, that sounds perfect.
Great. Well, it's so good to see you again, Taylor. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yes, you as well. Thank you.
Marika from Bunzl. It's great to see you again, Taylor.
Well.
How have things been since the last time we spoke?
Can't complain too much.
Good.
Staying busy for the most part.
Glad to hear that. Business going all right?
Oh yeah, so we're entering our busy season. Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right.
So.
I was about to say, holiday season's crazy for everybody.
Absolutely insane.
This is, the happiest time of the year.
Oh, for most people.
right. Trying to tell myself, I'm like, all right, 50 days till Christmas.
Yep.
It's actually today. So, fun fact for you there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I'm glad to hear things are going well since the last time we spoke. And I know we discussed around 15 minutes for this presentation. Does that still work for you?
Yep, that's perfect.
Great. I just want to go over a quick agenda of the things we'll be talking about today, just so I can get your input and see if there's other things you want to add, change about it. Great. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about, the problems and goals we hit from last meeting and see if there's any, opportunities or options I have that can help you out today.
Absolutely.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, sounds great.
Great. So here's a little, recap of our last meeting. Some of the problems we discussed with your current neoprene boot is how there's a slight issue with employee dissatisfaction, them standing in those boots, standing for hours every day. I can barely do heels, can't imagine being in their place. That and just durability, constantly having to replace the boot throughout the year with it falling apart. And that could also lead to injury, people slipping, work comp that nobody wants to have to deal with, especially around the holidays. And then even a little bit of product cross-contamination with, things sinking into the boot, transferring over. We want to keep everything as safe as can be. Yeah, and then on the, more positive half, some of the goals we discussed, we're increasing that employee comfort, relieving that back pain they can feel lifting all those heavy weights to their feet, and then also increasing, overall safety, kind of match with that, injury issue you've been having. And then also just overall sustainability, durability, keeping a good boot that's going to make you and everybody happy. And of course, saving money, cost savings. Who doesn't want to do that?
Yep.
Right?
Name of the game.
Exactly. Does this all sound good to you? Is there anything you'd like to add or change?
Nope, those are definitely some big points for us as long as we can kind of figure out satisfaction, making sure safety's still intact with everything we're going to discuss. And of course, cost savings. It'll help me look good for my boss.
And that's all we want to do here, right? Well, great. I'm glad to hear that we're kind of on the same page here. So right now you are using the neoprene boot, your basic, run-of-the-mill brown boot, nothing too fancy there. But what I'd like to offer you today is our Dunlap Food Pro boot. I really think, here, I'll put it right out here for us just so you can take a look at it and everything. But just going over some of the problems and goals we had, I think that this is a product that can really not only help the employees, but help you out, help just the organization as a whole just feel more comfortable, safe, save some money, all that good stuff. Great. So here are some of the benefits that I think, compared to the last time we spoke, will help match with this boot that I've chosen for you today. And our first feature is that the boot has an open tread sole. So I'll show it here for you down at the bottom. And so this feature, it prevents, on the cross-contamination wise, it prevents, the food, grease, all those things slipping into the boot, because as you can see, it's all one piece together. So you don't have to worry about, things leaking in. It's full rubber, fully protected, which is nice for, cross-contamination purposes.
Yes.
Right, but then also on the more important side, like with safety as a whole, this boot is like 40% less slipping than we've seen in the past with other competitors. It has a huge reduction in slipping and falling, as well as, overall leading to that injury. So I think that this will be a great benefit and add value for you all, because we're helping resist that slipping, falling, injury, keeping employees out for a while, and overall just like employee satisfaction, because they won't have to worry about slipping and falling while they're working. Do you see how this boot could, have value for you and value for your employees working?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, comfort's a big thing, so that's something to kind of consider, because I do get a lot of complaints from them about the discomfort of the neoprene, but everyone likes to complain. I'm not out there wearing them, so.
Right. It's hard because we're not the ones stomping around in them.
Exactly. Exactly, and then of course slip strips and falls is a big issue that we're actually just experiencing more often than we should be at this point, and so, well, there's always going to be hesitation switching someone to a new thing. The color helps, the fact that it's still brown, I don't think
Right.
will.
Right. No change in design there, you know. I know your workers probably really care about, you know, their brown styling boots.
Oh,
all those
absolutely.
great things.
But if there is concern for like an initial increase in some of the, as they're kind of adjusting, if that was something we wanted to do, was to move forward.
Absolutely, and I completely understand that, and I really empathize with you guys having to go through that injury. It's not fun for the employees, not great experience for them, but also, you know, on the corporate side, not great to deal with. I bet HR has been having a great time with that product. Great, well, you know, talking a little bit more on the comfort, as you mentioned, that kind of leads me into my next benefit here, which is our lightweight boot and insulation. So within the boot, you know, we can't really see because we don't have the magnifying eyes, but there are little even deposits of air spread throughout the boot, so which makes it a lighter boot as a whole. And, you know, it sounds like a little silly difference, but throughout the day, being around 40% lighter leads to approximately 551 pounds less a day through their stepping and carrying and manufacturing. And you don't think about those little things, but that slight adjustment can make a huge impact for comfort, especially with back pain, because that's something that, you know, most people struggle with in labor. So that is that half of that feature, it being lightweight, more comfortable, great for the employees. The other half that I like to mention and call out, that it's also fully insulated too. You know, everyone's working long nights, it can get cold during the winters, and this product can actually, you know, increase that insulation so they won't feel as cold when, you know, they might get something wet or freezing during the winter times, especially around the holidays with that boot. So that benefit of that is, you know, of course, employee comfort with the lightweight, decrease in fatigue, because when you think about it, when they're not having to lift as much, they feel more comfortable, they're going to be willing to get more done throughout the day, you know? And so do you see how, like, this connection can bring more productivity with your employees?
Absolutely. I mean, this is an industry where turnover is a big issue, so every time our other boots are busting out and stuff like that, I mean, I'm throwing away money. And so
Absolutely. I mean, I even think about the times when I'm like walking on tennis shoes, and the second they get a little heavy or uncomfortable, I want to sit down on my couch. So having something like this a little bit lighter would definitely help them, you know, want to walk around more, want to go to work the next morning after they've had a really long night. So, okay, I'm glad that we're on the same page with that. Moving on to the last feature I really wanted to point out for you today is that there are actually replaceable insoles within this boot. If, you know, my magic can go well, I can pull it out for you. Nice, easy, simple. So these replaceable insoles are actually only $12, which is, you know, pretty cheap. Great for, you know, overall durability within the boot. Because the second it starts to get a little uncomfortable, if you'd like to feel it, you know, it's easy to slip right out, put a new one in, keep going. That can also help with cost savings, because then when you think about it, you're not having to replace the boot multiple times a year. Like, you can just get this quick $12 thing, slip it in, and then they're good to go. And then also, you know, going back with comfortability, they go really hand in hand between cost savings and, you know, helping that employee have a better experience during their working day. Do you think that this type of, you know, replaceable insole would be something that you guys would be interested in, like, looking into and hearing about?
I think absolutely, because like you said, I mean, if we're just having to replace this, it's going to be some sort of a saving if we're not having to buy an entirely new boot.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And I think, you know, going back to how quick and easy this change is, you're never going to have a delay in, like, your employees going to work because, you know, their boot isn't working. You know, they don't have to take a day off. They can easily just, you know, take a quick 5-minute break, slip it out, slip a new one in, and then they're back and feeling better. Great. So I'm glad, you know, we're feeling great about these benefits so far. Now here is the fun part. Get excited. Cost savings!
All right, let's take a look.
Right, exactly. So with your current products, the neoprene boot, you're having to buy around 480 boots a year, 40 boots a month, like we last discussed. And while the boot is costing $55, it does lead to a pretty hefty yearly cost of around $26,000. So that is currently where you're at. You know, us with Bunzl right now, we're helping you reach a 5%, you know, savings every year. And this product is specifically because the benefits are great. That's why I mostly recommended it. But cost savings wise too, this is going to help you out because you're only going to have to replace it around 160 times a year. And we also have those great insoles that are easy to work with too, you know, help you saving on that money as well. But, you know, on the flip side, our boot is a little bit more expensive because it has a longer durability, because you're able to switch it out more often with the insoles. It is ranging around $115 per boot. However, when you do the math, you know, times in the boots per year by how much they cost, it's around $18,000 a year. So then in the end, you are saving around $8,000 by making the switch, which gets us around a 30% saving of like from the original boot price. So yes, it is a little bit more expensive. However, in the long run, I really do see how this could benefit for you guys, help you reach that cost savings goal, along with, you know, the few other things we're helping you with, like the earplugs. And as a whole, do you have any questions about this at all?
The cost is a little daunting, but I mean, if the boot is everything that you said, then it makes sense why we don't have to replace as much, we're not spending as much money, and we're not having to go through them constantly.
Absolutely. I love a good deal when I see one, you know, always helping out in that range. And just kind of following along with that, going with the yearly summary that I spoke about with that 5%. So you do spend around $1.5 million a year, as we past discussed, and you are hoping to reach that $75,000 in cost savings. So this is, you know, chipping off quick $8,000, helping us get quicker, moving around. So I'm glad to hear that, you know, this is something you're open to. I really love helping you out here today. Do you have any other comments or concerns about this product?
I mean, it all looks so good, but this is something that we're gonna have to see the performance level on it. Like, it'll be hard to fully commit because, like, from what I see, like, it sounds great, everything looks great, but safety's gonna have to approve it. We're gonna have to put it on people in the plant and go from there.
Absolutely, I completely understand. You know, it is a daunting jump to try to switch from, you know, something new. Everybody, you know, change isn't the funnest thing to make. And if you're interested, if you'd rather look into a trial period rather than fully committing to your range, we can look into something like that. Would that make you feel better? Or?
A trial would be great. If we could trial them out for a certain amount of time and then kind of just go from there. And if it proves that they have the longevity that you said that they do, then a contract should be an easy sign.
Great, I'm really glad to hear that. You know, I'm thinking with the holiday season coming around, are you all right with like about a 3-month trial to get you through that season?
Yeah, sure.
Great, great. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And just kind of like a recap just on how this product will help you out. You know, of course, we're hitting that cost savings, getting around $8,000 a year. But past that, we're really focused on the employee experience as a whole. We want to help them feel more comfortable. We want to help keep them safe. We want to have a product that's going to make them, you know, last longer, get through the day, and not having to constantly replace it, which will in return help with your productivity, you know, working better as an organization is obviously all we want here. So I'm glad to really hear that, and if it's all right with you, I actually have a trial period sign on today if you'd like to sign that contract. Yeah. Great! Alright, so I'll write in here 3 months. Great, and if you could just sign right there for me.
Yep.
Great, well I'm so happy that we were able to meet again today.
Thank you as well. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how this all is going to play out.
I am too, and I think you're really going to enjoy what Bunzl can offer you here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You as well.